So we have two guests, and Lafayette, if you'd like to introduce our guest, Ms. Jones, and then she can say something. And then Reg, you can do the same with Ms. Edwards.
Okay, sure. I'm just going to introduce Miss Amanda Jones, who I've known since I want to say the early '90s.
Yeah.
And she's a wonderful vocalist, as Denise said earlier. And I've had the pleasure of playing with her off and on over throughout the '90s and a little bit beyond that. And I knew that she had gotten into real estate at some point back in about 20 years ago, but I had no idea the level that she had achieved in real estate, and she's really done a lot of wonderful things. So with that being said, I'm going to give her a little time. We're going to give her a little time to introduce herself and tell us about what she's been doing and about her experiences.
Good morning, everybody. It's Jhones Jones. And I joined a real estate company in 1997. And the company was Douglas Elliman. And they had pulled me in even before I had finished real estate school. And I went to NYU to study at their real estate division. And it was quite interesting when I got into the business in 1997. And I actually left Douglas Elliman in 2018. So I was with them for a mighty long time. And when I was with Elliman, I noticed that there were not a lot of Black folks. I was the first Black senior VP in Douglas Elliman's 100 history at the time. I mean, I grew to that level. And basically what that meant was I made a lot of money selling real estate. So they actually judged it by how much money you made. And then I became a senior VP. And then Revenue, the Real Estate Board of New York, decided that they were not going to allow brokers anymore to use the VP and senior VP labels. My experience in real estate was interesting. I would pray to God that don't make me like these people. Yes, because this real estate is a business game and it's about a lot of money. Period. The end. You have to have a tough skin. You have to have the knowledge. You have to be ahead of the game. You have to think before you're thinking, especially when you're dealing in a market like New York City. And New York City does not play. I got into development by a gentleman that worked at Douglas Elliman. His name was Hal Henderson. And it's so interesting that one day I had moved into up the east side, and I was on 109th Street, and I was going to the store on 109th Street and Madison Avenue, and there stood this building with this huge sign on it, and it said apartments for sale. So I jot down the number, and I called the broker, well, the developer, and he didn't answer. I called him again, and about, I'll say 2 weeks later, I got a call from Hal Henderson and the development group, and he says, there's a building on 109th Street, and we want you to take this building. And I said, are you serious? Because this is the building that I had been calling. That was my first introduction to development. And when I went into the building, at the time there was drug activity. There was a lot of heavy drug activity. And when I went into the building and saw how he had presented the apartments, there was a blue bowl with orange Cheetos on a card table. So I asked him, I said, listen, I need $2,500. What do you need $2,500 for? I'm going to IKEA. What are you going to IKEA for? I'm going to furnish the place, and the rest is history. I sold out the building, I'll say less than 6 months. The real deal happened to Rita. It's the presentation. I mean, what he did was indicative of what was happening in the community. And it's like, no, people are not going to live here if they come here and see a blue bowl with some orange Cheetos. Tell me what the Cheetos are about. I don't get it. And at the time, there was homeless people hanging around. So got a shirt, got some pants, gave them some money, and said, you're going to be my doorman. I incorporated what was happening. And it was so interesting because when I would have an open house, they would say, hey, Amanda, from the stairs off the street, you got somebody coming upstairs. And people found that delightful. They didn't feel unsafe. And it worked out well. So from that development came another, which they named the Amanda Condominiums, which was quite interesting because, to tell you the truth, I never liked the name Amanda because I didn't think it fit my personality, and my grandmother was named Amanda. So when they honored me with that, they honored my grandmother, who I never met. And now I'm in love with that name. I mean, I love it. But it took that building for me to appreciate where she came from and what she did. So in this building, 32 West 128th Street, they got me from the other building. It's like, if she could sell here, she could sell anywhere. So I sat with the architects and I tell them it was a 5-story building. And this is what I told them. And right across the street, there was a drug rehab center. So I said, if you're going to sell these properties, what you have to do is bring the village into Harlem. I need high ceilings. I need keyed elevators. I need windows. I need closet space. The rest is history. The first apartment that I sold in that building was the top floor, because I didn't know how to price it. $500,000. They're like, what? $500,000 for the top floor in that building. And then it trickled down from there. But what was so disheartening is that, and unfair, I'm gonna say it. So when you bring a developer into the fold in a company, they are your developers. You work for them. And they did the same building on 96th Street, but I was told that I didn't know the market there, so they gave the development to someone else.
All right.
And then they did one in the village. And I was told, oh, you don't know the market in the village. And they gave that development. If you look at my history of sales, and there's over a couple of hundred, I've sold from the bottom of Wall Street to the top of Harlem and beyond. But that's what you have to deal with in this business. So some would say, well, why didn't you open up your own company? And I'll tell you why. You need the foundation of money in a business that has a reputation to do development. And that's what I like to do. And if I open up my own business, I did not have the foundational money, along with getting insurance, along with getting more insurance, and along with having a pitfall where I could say, well, I can invest $100,000 or $1 million. I didn't have that. So with that said, I stayed with the companies, with Douglas Elliman for quite some time. And I did do several developments, and they know me. But now I have moved on to a new company, which I'm quite excited to be about, because one, they wanted me badly. And that's all I'm gonna say. And they appreciate my talent. And when you get a company that says, I'm going to back you 100%, and you say, well, 100% is not enough because I've been in this business for over 20 some odd years. I need 1,000, a couple of 1,000%. And they say, you know what? Sign on the dotted line. That's where I am now. With Cole Warburg for Warburg. And I dig the company, and I just started with them May 2nd. And already they have treated me like Mother Queen Bee. And I'll just drop the mic there.